Hey guys, it's Ivan, and today we'll learn how to make melodies without controlling the pitch of your oscillators. As always, we like to show you the techniques in the context of modern electronic music, and today we'll break down a classic track by Daniel Avery called Drone Logic. Let's have a quick theory lesson about pitch perception in sound. First of all, there are two main groups of sound, simple and complex. Simple sounds consist of a single frequency or harmonic, for example a tuning fork sound or a sine wave. This single frequency is perceived as the pitch of the sound. Complex sounds are the ones that contain multiple harmonics that can range from simple saw or square waves and to musical instrument sounds such as the piano, guitar, saxophone, and others. But how can a human brain understand the pitch of complex sounds when there is so much information in the frequency spectrum? The answer lies in the fundamental frequency. The fundamental frequency is a tone that has the lowest frequency in a complex sound, and the other tones are known as overtones or harmonics. The fundamental frequency is what we perceive as being the pitch of the sound, and usually the fundamental frequency also has the highest amplitude compared to other harmonics in the sound. Now that you understand how pitch perception works, let's break down the track starting from its name, the drone logic. Chances are that if you have been making electronic music, you have already heard the term drone. Drone refers to a sustained tone or chord that can change its character slowly over time, but generally speaking it maintains a pitch or a chord structure over the duration of a track. So you might be thinking, what does this have to do with the track? Let's start making our patch, and trust me, it will all make sense. For our voice, I'll be using the SHUTTLE system on the top, and let's start by tuning the first oscillator. Let's patch the sine wave to tune in on the gateway, and the drop out to the pitch of the carrier oscillator. Next, let's send the saw wave output to the second filter on the ground terminal. And by the way, I already have the ground terminal patched to the first channel on the cockpit and the Queen of Pentacles patched to the second channel of the cockpit. Next, let's patch the pitch CV output from the first track to the key input so that we can tune our oscillator. Now to tune our oscillator, all we have to do is select track 1, press A note, open the filter so we hear it, and press the tune button. And we are done. Now we also need to set up our envelope, so we'll take out the gate from track number 1, put it to the first envelope, and then use a stackable cable to trigger the second one. Instead of applying the envelope to the filter cutoff, today I'll be using the envelope to control the VCA. And to make that work, all you have to do is put these two switches down. Now we can patch our unipolar envelope to the resonance input, and it will control the volume of our oscillator. To make sure that it's working, let's open the filter cutoff and play some notes. Now let's also patch up the Queen of Pentacles. The first output will go to the kick drum, the second to the snare, and the fourth one to the hi-hat. Now let's quickly make the beat for the Queen of Pentacles. It's a very simple one. All we have to do is switch to track number D, create a kick pattern using SH101 mode, and just a simple kick. Then I'll put one snare and hi-hats. Now to make the rhythm a little bit more interesting, I will apply some delay to the hi-hats. To apply effects to any of the sounds, all you have to do is put the switch to the right position and then turn the dry wet control over here. So let's start the beat. As you can see now, our delay time is not synced to clock. So to do that, all you have to do is press this button. Now we are in the primary view. The red means we're in the secondary parameter view. So now we can just put a clock from the ground control and adjust the division like so. Now that we have most of our patch ready, let's return to the topic of pitch perception and drones. What Daniel Avery did in this track is pretty clever. Instead of sequencing the pitch of the oscillator, what he did is he cranked up the resonance of the filter, which creates a peak in the frequency spectrum. And by sequencing the position of the peak, which is the filter cutoff point, he was able to boost different harmonics of a steady saw wave drone. Once you boost a specific harmonic, your brain starts perceiving it as the fundamental tone, and hence, it becomes the perceived pitch of the sound. Now let me show you what exactly I mean and how you can sequence the melody of a track by sending the pitch CV to the filter cutoff of our drone. Now let's sequence the rhythm for our voice, so let's start the sequence. Switch to track number 1, make sure it's 16 steps, arm the recording, and as you can hear, we have some shuffle. To adjust that, all you have to do is press tempo, shuffle, and make sure it's around like 54, 55, or 56. Well, here it starts to get a bit too much for this track. I usually like to keep it around 54. Now let's hear how you can affect the pitch of this voice using just the filter cutoff. So let's start the sequence. Boost the resonance. Let's also add some delay. Now, in order for us to sequence the filter cutoff over here, I will be using the second channel of gateway. I will patch the pitch CV output from track number 2 to the key input. And I will take out the drop output, feed it to cutoff input on the second channel, and make sure it's fully open. Now we can freely play the filter cutoff using the keyboard over here. So let me show you, and we will also record the sequence. Like the right note, so make sure the sequence is 16 steps. And now we have the main melody. You can play around by adding a bit more resonance, or you can transpose the sequence using this offset knob. One consequence of adding high resonance to low-pass filters is the loss of the low end. So to fix it, let's add another oscillator tuned to the same note as the first one to the mix. Let's patch the envelope over here, the unipolar, to control the first filter cutoff. And then a saw wave output from the modulator oscillator to the first filter. Now let's make sure they're in tune by playing the melody. Right there sounds nice. And also I would like to have control over the octave of this oscillator. So I'll patch the pitch CV output from track number 3. And then I'll switch to track number 3, make a one-step sequence, which will be just the C note. And now I can freely transpose it. The final thing that I would like to do is also split the trigger for the kick drum using a stackable cable and put it into the sidechain of the cockpit and apply some sidechain to the first channel, which is our main voice. At the end of the chain, we have the golden master where I enabled the compressors, boosted the low end a bit and compressed the mids and highs. Now let's have a quick jam with this patch and enjoy the harmonics. I hope you learned a few new things today and now understand how pitch perception works. The technique of highlighting the harmonics of a sound to create different pitches is a fun one to explore, as you can pretty much turn any sound into a pitched instrument. As always, the project file will be available in the description, and if you have enjoyed watching this video, please give us a like and subscribe not to miss the next one. That is all for today. Have fun making music and we'll see you next time.